to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And today, make sure you guys go to our website. You know what? Before we go to the website, I just had
Don't you start with me.
I just had this crazy thought. Have you ever had those thoughts?
Never.
When you're in the middle of doing something and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like we're recording and we're putting this out there to the world. You know, it's like, it was just like one of those, like in the moment, and like I'm looking into a camera, I'm like, holy shit, like we fucking do this? Anyway, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. And when you guys go there, you'll find all the ways that you guys can support the show. Follow all of our social media at Opposite Pod. Yeah, we really do this.
I slipped something in your drink.
And search the podcast. Like we've said before, the best thing that you guys can do is share it with somebody else, rate, review, comment, all of that stuff. Thumbs up.
Good stuff. Yeah.
One of my friends, my best friend, Stevens, he was messing around with like one of the most popular podcast apps, Podcast Addict. And he was clicking around on there. And he found ways like that you can leave reviews on there too.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
So yeah, wherever you guys can do it, it really helps us out.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, good to know. So yeah, are you feeling a little woozy, a little different? Are you very in tune? Are you aware? No.
Why'd you spike my coconut water? What'd you put in it?
Little mushrooms here,
little
mushrooms there.
See where this goes.
You can tell your awareness is on point. Obviously, looking into the camera, you just realized that you were a podcaster.
You have a rainbow coming out of your mouth right now.
I do.
No,
I'm going to have one coming out of my butt in a little bit. No.
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
Just kidding. I joke. Am I? No.
So today's my off Friday.
It is.
From work. And these are nice days. I like these Fridays where we just get to hang out. And we started the day by what? What's up? What are you going to say?
Go ahead.
I was going to say we started the day by just sitting in the front for a little while. I mean, we're out there for over an hour.
I have a note in my phone that we are becoming old white people.
Yeah.
Because that was what you said. No.
Yeah.
So this is hilarious. So we have our really good friends, our neighbors. And here we are, you know, I'm like, hey, why don't you make some coffee and let's go sit in the front and let's go do some bird watching, right?
Yeah.
Because first of all, I have created such a beautiful, peaceful.
Sorry.
Was that me? Oh, see, you were telling me to turn off my.
Dude, I did.
Okay. Yeah, just space in our front yard. So we have 3 hummingbird feeders. We have a bird feeder, and I created this beautiful garden.
Yeah.
And my client, shout out to Kelly,
a bird bath. She got us.
She gifted me
a bird bath.
A bird bath.
I say it's for us now.
And I have 2 sets of wind chimes, and this one is just very
relaxing.
Yes, it just takes you straight into zen.
Because it's so big and it has like this giant sail at the bottom, so it could be like just the slightest breeze, and then you hear like.
It's a deep chime.
Not
so
exactly,
it's not
but
right. It's not one of those high pitch annoying chimes. It has a deep tone. And then I have another one, which is not very high as well. They just sound very good together. So anyways,
it's a chill. And then we have 2 like lounge kind of chairs.
Yes.
And a little table in the middle.
Yes.
In the front.
Miguel, you can post a picture.
Yeah.
Took a picture of me this morning while I was watering my garden, my flowers.
Yeah. So now like what we do a lot of times when we have a little bit of time together is we'll make some coffee and then we just kind of sit in the front and I'll fill up the bird feeder and we'll just sit there and watch the birds come around and the hummingbirds flying around.
It's so hypnotizing.
It is.
It is very hypnotizing. The time goes by very fast. So anyways, I went to go turn on the water to water my garden and I hear all this racket and I'm like, hey, who's making all that noise? And it was our neighbor, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
He was getting trash and putting it together, whatever. And then he's like, howdy, neighbor. He's like, how are you feeling? He's like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, being old white people and bird watching.
Yeah, we're sitting in the front.
White, and he's white. Yeah.
He's the one that was saying, he's like, dude, you guys are turning into white people, sitting out front watching birds. And I was like, dude, next time you see me, I'm going to have binoculars around my neck.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I mean, if you think about it, if you guys are listening and you close your eyes and think of a bird watcher, tell me what you see. It's an old white person. Either a white guy or old white lady with little binoculars with a little hat, right?
Right.
It is, but it is so relaxing though. And it's been fun. And the conversations that we have while we're just kind of sitting out there watching the birds.
So then my neighbor is like, so how are you feeling this morning? And I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. And then you come and he asks you, oh, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Any aches and pains this morning?
Yeah, because of my birthday and yeah. And I posted like on, was it the day of my birthday? I went to go get an x-ray done for my knee. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I got you a nose trimmer.
You got me a nose trimmer.
Yep. I use it for his butthole too. No.
Sonja got me a nose trimmer.
You can use it for many things. No.
Yeah.
So then we're sitting in the front and just enjoying each other's company. And talking about different things. We were talking about what we can do to just him and I, though we talk often, it's not really like having a business meeting. Like we need to sit down and schedule a time where we can talk about what the things, like look to see what we can do better.
Yeah, that's like a working meeting. That's what I was telling you.
Right. Like that is something we have to do.
We were talking about
Especially if we're going to get you retired. We were talking about talking.
We were talking about, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
We were talking about that too, about getting me retired.
Yes. And we're not going to do it by not knowing our numbers, by not looking at what it is that we're doing and just flipping a coin.
And like one thing that, and I think I actually made a clip about this last week. Yeah, I did. It just came out today. But that's one of those things that when you start working on yourself and doing things, the things that you don't want to do, guess what you start looking into? You're like, all right, I don't want to look at my numbers. But if we plan on, like you said, what are we going to have to do? Look at the numbers, look at the list, look at all these things. Because this is so much more fun.
Right. I enjoy doing this. Right. But in order to see where we need to get better at or better on, like we have to work in the business.
Yeah.
And so, and I know this about myself. And the more I'm looking back at the other businesses that I created, I always did my best when I had someone that was guiding me, right? Like someone, like for instance, with the Legal Shield business, we had
there was a structure to the business.
They called them the commitments of how to get to certain levels. It gave me things to do on a daily basis.
And also there was positions to achieve that were based on performance that you could hit, so that it gave you goals.
So I knew what needed to be done every day. And I knew what I needed to do in order to get to that certain position. So there were goals, like if I wanted to hit executive, I knew exactly what to do during that month and the things that I needed to do daily and weekly and monthly. And I knew those things. And then when I started growing Trust Inc., we'll leave the other businesses out of here, right?
The tutus and
yeah, that was fun. It was different. But with Trust Inc., I had Bill Soroka, give my boy a shout out. Yeah. Right? Really good friend of mine. But he had a YouTube video and then him and I became really good friends. And he started, just watching him and learning from him.
We got to get him back on.
Yes.
Even if it's
He's
video.
going to be back in October. So
Okay.
we need to
We'll
talk
figure
about that. You know, he gave us, and I took the same concepts from Legal Shield in order to grow that business, right?
Yeah.
But it's a different kind of business, but I knew somewhat what I needed to do and grew that business doing those things. But the coaching business is so near and dear to my heart, and it's so personal that it's just a different kind of business. It's a different type of business. And I almost feel, and it's new, though I've been coaching since 2006, because I noticed that, like, people ask me, well, how long have you been a coach? Right. And it's like, oh, a year. But then I'm like, no, I haven't. I've been a coach since 2006. I mean, this is going to be so cool. A lot of the women that are attending our retreats.
True.
I was their coach. I was their mentor in Legal Shield.
Right. Yeah. That is crazy to think about.
Yeah. So no, I've been coaching for a long time.
Yeah.
On mindset. A lot of it was mindset and belief system, but it wasn't what I know now. Because if I was mentoring them with what I know now, I could have helped them get over the humps, the unlimited beliefs, the things that were
the limited
beliefs that were holding them back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? But it's just a different type of business. And I know that I am better when I'm having that structure, and you are my structure.
Yeah.
Like, someone asked you, are you a coach? I would like for you to coach me.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, I can't even get this man to coach me. But
but we will.
Are
I'll
exactly
we're gonna work.
what I need.
Yeah, we'll work together.
Or want. Need. Right? Like
Want.
you are, yes. But
Want.
so having that structure and that kind of loving but firm, hey, this is what.
Let's go. You know, I think that's a big part of the difference between like the entrepreneur and being an employee. Like that is because, like, for me, for work, it's the same thing. Like, I do the things that I know are my job. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So like in Legal Shield, there were certain things that you were doing, but those were part of the job. Like, if you're doing this, you're selling so many every month. You're bringing in so many people to the company so many months. You know, like there's requirements to hit. When you own a business, when you actually start a business from scratch, there is nobody telling you anything to do. You have to do these things whenever you make that decision. Right. And if you never make those decisions, or you never even create the structure, then you never even get started.
Right.
Or there's just certain things that you just don't do. You know?
Yes. And because this business is so different than all the other businesses, it's structured like, this is so new to me. You can't build it like a multi-level. Trust Inc., I built it like a multi-level. Yeah. I had general contractors working within, right? Like Legal Shield, I had a team. I mean, it was similar to where I can build that business.
Yeah, this is different than all the other stuff.
Right. The retreats, and that's basically sold out.
Yeah, you guys can send us a message or something, but there may not be any.
Yeah, but there will be another one in 6 months. So.
Hopefully. If not, hit us up. There might be a spot.
But in 6 months, there will be another. Yeah. But there'll never be another one like this. I can tell you.
There you go. Got you guys.
So just, and how I figured this out was just being real with myself. But I've told you this before. Like, I know me, and because I'm so like connected to my emotions, a lot of times I will allow my emotions to take over, like, and it's when having that person like you to be able to tell me, hey, I know, that this, you're feeling this way today and this and this and that. But if,
damn it, there there was something, I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, but we were having a conversation about this. I was talking to you about this earlier in the week about feelings and like how people put so much stock into like feelings and like, oh, I feel this way and and it's like a lot of times you need to disregard all those feelings and do whatever is supposed to be done in this moment.
And that sounds so good. And some people are so good at disconnecting from their emotions, from their feelings. And that's why it's hard for them to self-process, self-reflect, and let go and be able to let go of the things that are hindering them, that are stopping them from.
Because they never take that moment to just
sit. Right. But then there's a time where it's time to let go of that. Like for instance, with me, like going through the healing process, I understand when things come to me and there's an emotion that is hindering me from doing what I need to do. I'm self-aware to where I can recognize that, but it'll take me a few days at times, right? To get through that. And look at me this week. Yeah. This week, I'm hitting the gym. I'm back to normal. I feel fucking amazing. Like, let's go. Right?
Yeah.
A man can't really understand what a woman goes through because you guys don't have the hormones.
We don't have the hormones.
You know?
I know.
Yeah. And you can see the difference in how I am on this podcast versus the previous 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
But it's just being able to be aware of what's happening and giving yourself that time to get through it, but getting right back on track. But it's like, how do you overcome that? You know, when you're going through that hormonal imbalance.
Yeah. I think it is. I like you said, I wouldn't be able to understand what that's like.
Yeah.
But if I can coach you for a moment, there is something that I remember, and I don't know if it applies exactly or if this is the exact situation, but Jocko Willink, he has something that he talks about, and it's called default aggressive. He said that whenever something comes up, his automatic setting is default aggressive. Go after it. Regardless of how you feel or whatever, just attack it. Whether it's you have this feeling, I don't want to go to the gym, just stop fucking thinking, go to just default aggressive. He's like, that isn't always the best solution. He's like, but like 75% of the time, it is going to be the solution. The best solution is just get started on that instead of sitting and thinking. Now, there are times where you have to, oh, maybe this is not a default aggressive situation.
Right.
But like he said, a lot of times it is.
It's like
and
knowing
I think that
yourself.
Default aggressive is overcoming the emotions.
Because if I know, and this is the thing, I never tracked my monthly, right? To know, okay, this is just my hormones trying to take over. This is, okay, I see this. I'm aware of this. Okay.
Go.
Let's go. Right. Or is this something I need to learn from? Is this something that I've been avoiding? Or is this something that I need to learn? Because even though I was going through that, you know, those hormonal whatever for the 2 weeks, there was a lesson that I learned within that in order to better understand my future clients that have gone through depression or, you know, that state.
Yeah. And even though maybe the best solution would have been to be default aggressive, like you said, you still learned something from it.
And I did that, right? Like on Thursday when I didn't feel like I was pushing myself.
Yeah, you did. You still did.
I was still, but then there was a point where I'm like, no, you need to give in. Because I was working a lot, right? Like I was working on the schedule, the agenda. I did not cancel any of my clients' appointments.
Right. Are we bullshitting?
What do you mean?
There's a fucking fine line and a balance to all of this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's knowing thyself.
Right.
and knowing when you're bullshitting yourself. Right?
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. Like there was a learning lesson within that in itself, and then coming out of it. I'm not still in it. I'm still, right? So it's getting yourself back to where it's at. But no, you're right. It's next month.
Yeah.
Being able to identify like, okay, I see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Nope. Let's go. Let's go to the gym, get in the sun. Let's be kind, be loving to yourself, but let's go.
Yeah. Right.
You know? And now that you're aware, you can also coach me from Love and Light. Don't come at me crazy.
We'll come at you with one of these Jocko David Goggins fucking. Let's go.
Well, what's so great is that my niece, Serena, love you.
Shout out.
Sent me, she was going through something, but didn't know it. I didn't know it. And I sent her a video, helped her out some. And then she's like, she shared with me a video that was helping her get up and go. And she shared it with me. And I'm like, ooh, that's exactly what I need. That is exactly what I need to wake up to, especially during that time of the month where I'm just like, I don't want to get up. Like, I'm not feeling good. I just want to sit here and cry. Yeah. Right? It's one of those.
You were having a couple of those.
You know, it's a 30-minute for the next 30 days, which is great. But it's in your face. Like, wake up. Like, it's in your face.
Good.
And there's times where I need that. Like, I need that. There has to be a balance.
Always, yeah. Yep.
And that's what we are together.
Yeah.
We are that yin and yang. And that's why we do so well together.
Yeah.
On Facebook, I did a Facebook Live. If you all would love to see it, friend request me. And I was talking about integrity.
Yeah.
And I was talking about the things that we've gone through and the things that we just cleaning up our mess, being able to apologize to each other, forgiving each other. And I had mentioned about, you know, like our infidelity and how we came and just released and talked to each other about it, and we're able to forgive and love, and our relationship is so much, it's crazy because I didn't think it would get better. I thought it was great.
Yeah. But it has.
And then 2 years, was it? How long ago? I keep saying, was it a year ago?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah,
and
maybe like 2 years ago.
And if you're a new listener, this happened within the first 5 years of our relationship, but we were holding on to this darkness within. I call it darkness because it was lingering and festering within. And through it, we worked through it. And today our relationship is stronger than ever. Right? And I can only imagine where we're going to go. I can't imagine it being better than what it is today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Check out the Facebook Live on Sonja's Facebook page.
And then today as we were sitting watching our birds, our birds,
as we do,
I brought up the Facebook Live and I said, you know, those that watch the video that maybe have some things that they need to clean up may not have the same result that you and I had after coming clean and confessing.
Yeah.
Because of where their relationship is. And maybe they're going to have a hard time when it comes to forgiveness.
Yeah.
But if love is the foundation, and if the confession comes out with love and respect and sincere, right? Like if it comes out sincerely with
where you can
being
feel
empathetic, compassion, right. Yes. And forgiveness is not something that comes out of it, or they end up going their separate ways. Then that's what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to think that way being in a relationship, especially if you've been in it for a long time. And that's why most people don't confess.
Yeah.
But if, and share with me, share how you feel about this. But if there's love in the relationship, and if you are in love, how can you not forgive in that type of in that situation? Unless you're in a relationship that's no longer serving you.
Right. Yeah.
Do you see
no,
what
I feel
I'm
the same way.
saying?
Yeah.
Like there's such a fine line because people tend to hold on to things because it's what they've known. And they're so scared of what's on the other side.
Yeah.
But anyways, I brought this up because in the Facebook Live, I didn't even mention that. I just mentioned like, our relationship is thriving and it's going better than ever. And we forgave each other, and the insecurity that I was feeling was released.
Yeah. And then we also started talking about like once you, like if that is the outcome where you split up, how sometimes like that, I mean, not sometimes, it's going to be a hard time.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's going to be hard. But for some people, their entire life just completely falls apart, And depending on, who you are or yourself, like, yeah, like you came clean, right? You got everything off your chest, and this was the outcome. It doesn't mean that it's the end of your life.
It could be the beginning of your life.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Because think back. I mean, the relationship you were in before me.
Right. Exactly.
Like, how healthy was that? Imagine if you decided to stay in that relationship because you had a daughter with her.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't even exist if I stayed in my relationship prior to you.
Right.
Because I was so scared of change and didn't feel that there was anything else out there for me. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
So if the relationship was going to be broken because of you confessing, then maybe it was time to release and maybe to let go of that relationship because it was no longer serving you.
Yeah.
You had mentioned, was it Jocko you were talking about or somebody? You were talking about something that you heard about being in a relationship and being a man and
50 Cent.
Oh, yes, that's right. Can
Yeah.
you share?
It was, how did I, yeah.
Because I think we were on this topic.
Yeah, we were on this topic, and I'm trying to think of exactly how he was saying. He was kind of what
he's
he
very
was,
successful.
Yeah,
obviously,
50 Cent is super successful. I think he's like a billionaire in like the music industry.
We're talking about marriage.
And he was in his book that I'm listening to right now. He was talking about how he's maybe not like doesn't believe in it, but he's not like too fond of the thought of marriage because he kind of just sees it as like, why can't we just be together? Like if we're together, and like that's it. We don't need to like sign a piece of paper or go to a court or whatever. And he was like, and also the way it's all set up, he's like, for somebody like him coming into a situation, he's like, if you have and you've built companies and have a lot of money, like you could get really, really taken and screwed. He's like, but one of the things that he finds most attractive, even though that's how he feels. And he was saying that like, this is something that is so powerful that it even makes somebody like him think about like, maybe I could with somebody like that settle down and have a family or something like that. But it was like, what he finds attractive is somebody that's not looking for anything. Somebody that is like,
not looking to be taken care of.
Yeah. Or somebody that is self-sufficient. They have their own thing. And there was it's a public thing. He was dating another celebrity, Chelsea Handler, who's got a TV show and all that. And she also dated Joe Coy, who we've interviewed on the podcast. If you guys want, you guys can look that up. But he was saying that like when they were dating or when he was around her, they were hanging out together. He was like, it felt like he was, one of the things that was the most attractive is that he knew she didn't need shit from him. Like she had her stuff and like she was tearing it up. And not only that, he was like, I wanted to be around her. Like I want her to rub off on me. You know, like it was that kind of energy.
I wanted you to rub off on me too.
Dang it.
So me being a coach, hearing that, there's trust issues.
Yeah.
Like there's trust issues within, because I used to feel like that. Oh, I used to feel like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the house, I used to feel like that. That's why I had a laundry list of things like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. This, all of that, because of,
right.
It was exactly that. And it was because of distrust.
Yeah. But I think like what he was saying, what he found, I don't know how we ended up. I don't know how we ended up, like when I was telling you like how we wrapped it into this whole thing of like splitting up though, you know, because there was something about that. It's like the type of person that he finds attractive is not someone that if they split up, their life spirals out of control. They might be sad because yes, like that was an important relationship or whatever that they've had for such a long time. But it's not the, like I was saying, it's not the end of their life.
Right. Yeah.
Their identity is not composed, like the other person isn't a huge part of their identity. They are their own person, you know?
I think that's a lot of times where you get into a relationship or a marriage and you're so focused on the other person. Moms, women, we tend to do this a lot though, that you forget about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like in a relationship, you have to have separate goals. You have your jujitsu goals.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
like
funny because like we were just talking about this. There's a balance of everything. Right?
Yeah. And you know, like I have my business, right? We have the podcast together.
Yeah.
You're now growing your other podcast. In time, I'll start my other podcast. But we have goals that we have together.
And like we were talking about this morning, right? We're going to start working together more to do more, better stuff together.
Right. And then you have your separate goals.
Right.
You and your black belt.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's important to do that, to not forget about you and the things that you like. We talk a lot, as you guys can tell, like together, which is great. That's what bonds us, right? Because we talk about everything, the communication. But you were talking about, I lost it.
Were we outside in the front?
Nope. It was a couple of days ago.
A couple of days ago.
Oh,
It's probably jiu-jitsu.
It had to do with this. Like just goals and
like the momentum,
like working together and oh gosh, come back. It was so good. Anyways, yeah, it was something you were talking to me about. It's just important not to lose yourself. Oh, we were talking about control, right? Like control, because for some reason, there are some individuals that don't allow. I was in a relationship at one point where I couldn't be myself because he had his own securities, and I wasn't aware of this back then. I was young.
Yeah.
But I'm a social butterfly. I love to go out. I loved to dance. And he wasn't that.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to my prom because he didn't want to go and he didn't feel comfortable with me going.
Yeah.
And I didn't go. And you were talking about control. Like, you know, how can you, when you're in a relationship, like how can you not, you know, like it's something that being in, having control of someone else.
Yeah.
Like we only live one life.
Yeah. That's what I was telling you. It's like for me, for somebody that is like me, or like the way I see things, I'm not a spiritual person. I don't believe that when we leave here that we're going to pop up somewhere else or that there's another life after this. I think that this may be it, right? And yeah, especially when you look at how rare the chance is that we're actually here right now in the history of the world and humanity, to be alive in a time where there's internet and electricity and AC and all these things is pretty special. And you only get one chance at this thing. Like, who are you to have control over anybody else?
Is life.
Yeah. Like, this is their one shot at this thing. And this is your one shot at this thing. But if anybody wants to do anything with their life, I mean, yeah, at a certain point, there's things that are damaging for your life. And you don't want to see people do that or whatever. And maybe that's not what you want for yourself, right? And that's not what I want for myself. But really, it's up to the person, up to that being, what they're going to do with their life.
And if you're in a relationship, that's why it's important to have individual goals as well.
Yeah. But it's just kind of like, well, like you were saying, in some relationships, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't go there. You can't see these people. You can't, I mean, yeah.
And that stems from a deeper issue.
Or you have a dream that you want to build this or you want to do, and it's like, no, you can't do this. And it's like, why not? This is your only life. How can we? Why not?
That, I feel 100% is why we made it. 100%. Because I was an entrepreneur and you were an entrepreneur when we first met.
Yeah. Well, at least, we had the mindset. Yeah.
Yes. And I would meet with a lot of businessmen. Like, there's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And for you to be secure enough to, allow me to be me and not question me and allow me to be free and allow me to be who I am helped me to find me. You being that way is why I stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I stopped like cheating. How can I do this? Like this, that's what made me realize what I had aside from everything else. But that was a huge got me to see you in a different light. Like, you are not like all the other men.
Thanks, babe. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's just how I see it. Make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. If you guys have been enjoying this episode, leave us a thumbs up, a comment, a like, subscribe, review, all of that stuff. Like we said earlier, the best thing you can do is share. We put out clips every week. There's 2 clips that we put out every week. We put them out on our clips channel. Opposites Attract Podcast Clips. It's a separate channel. If you guys are on YouTube, it's a YouTube channel. So if you guys are on YouTube and you click on the regular podcast, you go to other channels, you'll see it. The best thing that you guys can do is share one of those videos with somebody that you know. Find one that you like and share it with somebody else.
Yes.
And another thing that you guys could do to support the show is when you go to our website, you can click on the Support the Show tab. Once you click on that, it'll take you to our Amazon link, and you can just do your regular shopping and check out through there, and it'll help out the show. We'll get a little kickback. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps us out.
Helps us get new microphones and all the things
decorations
that we need.
And all that stuff.
All that good stuff, yes. And if you would like to support the show in a different way, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod and purchase us a virtual drink, alcohol, beverage, or coffee, whatever you choose. Coconut water.
Something.
And you can also subscribe on a monthly basis as well. So thank you all for your support with anything that you decide, whether it's coffee, alcohol,
whatever. We appreciate it.
Sharing.
Yep. There was something that I wanted to get into because it was, I don't know, it came up a few times this week that I had been thinking about it, and it has to do with with Joey. You know, like we've talked about some of the struggles that we've had with him. And yeah, sometimes I think it's just maybe the age that he's at. Like, that's just what it is. He's 11, and 11-year-old boys, some of them are stubborn. Some of them are like, they don't want to do the things that they're supposed to do. And that's just part of being 11, maybe. I don't know. And we were talking about that before we started the show. Sonja was like drinking her coconut water, and like she was making slurping sounds and all that. And I was like, dude,
we were about to pause the podcast.
I was like, some people are into that shit. I was like, we need to do that during the show. We'll get a whole new fucking type of listeners. I was like, just close your eyes. Go ahead, babe. Close your eyes. Close your. All right, whatever you saw in your head, whatever you're into, I mean, welcome to the show. Welcome to the new listeners that we just got. I'm going to make that into a clip and put it out there on the new clips channel.
Oh, my goodness.
But, so I was thinking with Joey, like I've said, there's things that he needs, that he's going to need in his life. And he fights us on all these things. Like being physically fit. Like I told him, I'm like, dude, you're 11 now. You're in 6th grade. You still got to go to junior high and high school. You're bound to get into a fight. Boys get into fights. It happens. So you need to know how to defend yourself. And not just that, the confidence that you get when you know that you can handle yourself in most situations is important. It changes your demeanor. It makes you from being timid to having confidence in yourself. So, but the thing is that all these things are, if you don't really put effort into it, you're not going to get better. It's just, it's tough. It's kind of like, it's like anything. I mean, if you want to learn how to read, or if you want to get good at reading and you're not good at reading, you have to read. You can't read for one day, skip the rest of the week, and then try to read again next week. When are you going to finally get good at this? Mm-hmm. It's going to take forever. You know, and I'm having all these conversations with Joey. Watch what you're eating. You need to get out and exercise. You need to go play with your friends. You need to, you know, and then I started thinking about stuff and looking at different things that we've done before. We've taken away his tablet. We've taken away his Nintendo. Then we give him back because after a while, it's like, well, all his friends are playing and he can't play with his friends. And that's how kids play today. Right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a tablet, so he can't really look up any of the stuff that he likes looking up. But right now I'm having this thought. I didn't have a fucking tablet and I didn't look up shit. I went outside and played, or I watched something on TV, or I went and knocked on my friend's door, or we did something.
Or grabbed the Playboy magazine that was in the living room.
And then.
Hey, you're pretty good at that too.
You know what I mean?
Want to do it together? No.
Again? So I was just like, dude, it's a constant like hammering, dude. Yeah. Dude, go take a look in the mirror, like just to be not being mean, but you can see what's happening. You don't get seconds. Don't get thirds. Put that back. You know, like these are hard things to fucking have to tell a kid.
And while don't lose your train of thought, okay?
Right.
And while Miguel is telling him this, you can see the difference here between the way we think and the way we are. I'm thinking, is this going to damage his confidence? Is this going to damage his confidence? And then I realized
it's going to damage his health.
There's a balance.
It's going to damage his brain.
But that's the focus, right? Not so much the looking in the mirror, but talking about the health. And I think that is what's going to click for him is that.
Yeah, because he's scared of dying. So I'm going to tell him you're going to get a fucking heart attack if you keep eating that shit.
But
so I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna switch it up on him.
Right.
I'm gonna switch it up on him.
The truth is the truth, and the truth will set you free.
I'm gonna be like, dude, any minute.
Do you understand?
You don't know what bite it's gonna be.
You know, like if someone like one time, I don't know, we were at the table and I don't know what happened, but it's like you're getting a little chunky.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's mean. And I gave you a look. Right? And the first thought is like, I don't know if that's the right way to handle this. Right.
And then
and you're like,
fuck that.
The truth. Miguel's like, the truth is the truth. The
Suck
truth
it up,
is
Buttercup.
the truth. Right? And a lot of times the truth fucking hurts.
Yeah.
It's reality. Like if you're not doing what you're supposed to do,
hey, you know what
the truth hurts.
You know what I've stopped saying to myself when I look at myself in the mirror?
What?
You fat piece of shit. I've stopped thinking that.
Yeah.
The truth is the truth.
But so many of us that are connected to our emotions and our feelings, we get our feelings hurt. Yeah. But the reality is the reality. It's having that balance.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And you've taught me that because and being able to and I coach on it, like taking a look in the mirror. Yes, loving the person in the mirror, but being honest with the person in the mirror.
Right.
Like if you're not happy in your relationship, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah, that I know.
To fix it.
I know Ian will like this. That's what one of the things that David Goggins talks about is the accountability mirror. Yeah. Like looking at yourself in the mirror and being straight up, and then making a decision to change.
Yeah.
And so what I was saying is like, yeah, this is what it's been like for the last couple weeks, and it feels like it's just non-stop, like negative. You need to fix this. You're fucking this up. You need to learn this, more of this, put that down. Don't do that. Do more of, eat this. And I'm like, damn, this kid's going to end up hating me. And I was just like, he has to know that I love him, and earlier, I can't remember when, but it was late. It was one of those days, like he's cleaning up and cleaning the counters. Go back downstairs, fucking do it again. Go back downstairs, do it again. He goes up to his room, call him back downstairs, come put your shit away. It's nonstop.
It's parenting.
So I go up to his room and he's getting ready to go to bed. And I don't know if he was like earlier, like maybe 30 minutes earlier. He wasn't very happy with me because it was just nonstop hammering him. And we go to say goodnight and I go up there and I just kind of laid with him. I put my head on his chest in his bed. And I was just kind of hugging him. And he was a little bit upset, maybe still. And I just laid there and I was just telling him that I never want him to think that I was deliberately like trying to be mean to him. However he takes it or however he feels about it, that I was never actually trying to make him angry. Like I would never want him to be angry at me on purpose for any reason. I would never want to do that.
Or that you're upset with him or...
Yeah. It's like the only thing that I want is the best for you. The only reason that I keep bringing this stuff up to you is because I love you. Because I want you to grow, to have the tools that you need to be happy. And we just kind of laid there for a little bit. And I just told him that I love him, Yeah. And then after that, I've also kind of like keep remembering it. Like I keep having the same thought that I need to keep hugging him, keep kissing him, keep hammering him, keep hugging him, keep kissing him, keep hammering him. It's just what it is.
Yep. Adriana, who is 2 years older, I remember having a conversation with her. And she was talking to me about one of her friends. And how her friend's mom is very lenient with her.
Yeah.
And there's no boundaries and there's no rules. And she told me, I'm thankful that you are the way you are with me.
Yeah.
Because it was the same thing with her as well. And it still is. But for the most part, she's on her game. Right?
Yeah.
Like for the most part, she is on her game.
And like we've said before, maybe it's just one of the differences between boys and girls.
No.
How boys mature
Age.
later.
Yes.
Right. You know?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And it's great that we have the hammer.
Yeah.
You are the hammer. And what would you call me?
Oh man. You're the
You're
the Band-Aid. You're the Band-Aid.
But I also too
But
am
you do,
that.
yes,
and
yes.
I hate that.
No, and I am the
because
Band-Aid too
feel
from time to time. We both
that's you know what? Yeah, we are. Because there's times where I tell you, I'm like,
I can't fucking do this.
no, because it's so I feel like I'm the one doing it most of the time.
Yeah.
Right?
And we've talked about that. We have been pretty good at like kind of sensing if I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to make mistakes. I'm getting emotional. Because it's been hammering. This is fucked up. That's fucked up. Do this again. Do that again. And it does fucking add up. At a certain point, it's like, holy shit, oh my God. And then it's like, look, I cannot go over there one more time. Because if I do, and it's like, and it's recognizing, it's like, all right, I got it. And then that's maybe when you go over there and be like, your dad right now.
Right. And we tag team. We tag team.
And then, or when I go into Joey's room and be like, dude, your mom's been telling you. There was a good example of that earlier this week. This was another hammering. You guys were downstairs and I was upstairs doing something. I can't remember what it was. It was the end of the day. At the end of the day, we all have dinner together as a family. We'll cook. One of us will cook.
Or both of us.
Or both of us will cook. And the kids, Joey cleans the countertops. Audrey does the dishes. Right? He will clear everything and take it to the sink, and then she puts everything away. And then they also have to pick up the chairs because we have the robot vacuum that vacuum. So they got to pick up the dog food, whatever's on the floor. They have things that they need to do. But there was something, yes, the dog food. You said, don't forget, pick this up and pick that up because these are things that are known that you have to do in this house.
Right.
But kids will cut corners on you do dishes, but you don't rinse the sink out.
Right.
You put stuff away, but you left something else out, or you left the bags on the counter or something.
Yes.
Right. So I heard you tell Joey, do this, do that, do the other thing. And you went, because we're busy. So you went off to go do something else. And I was upstairs doing my thing, but I heard you from upstairs. And I go downstairs. Or no, I heard Joey come upstairs. And it was like pretty quick. And I'm like, that was fast enough for him to clean the counters. But I don't think it was fast enough for him to do all the other shit that he had to do. So I went down there and I looked. And you at that point had already been telling them. Like both of them were fucking, it's just kids.
One of those evenings.
One of those evenings. They had both been acting a fool. Both of them weren't listening. And it's like, I already told you this. Audrey, you were telling her some, like, that's enough. This. Stop joking around. Stop fucking around. Get busy. And then Joey, this. And I go over to Joe. And I'm like, dude, I heard your mom. I was upstairs. You guys were both downstairs. How did I hear your mom and you didn't do the shit that she told you to do? But at that point, I think you were like, I don't know, maybe. Or maybe it was just me getting your back.
Yes, it was. Because I went up to shower.
But sometimes it is like a situation like that where it's like, hey, mom's told you a bunch of times. I've done that before too. Mom's told you a bunch of times, dude, she's gonna fucking lose it. Like, why haven't you done it yet? That's enough. Is this what you're trying to do? You're trying to piss your mom off? Go take care of it. You already know what you're supposed to do.
So, is it okay if I coach you?
What's up, babe?
It's not, do you want to piss your mom off? It's not, didn't your mom tell you? It's just a simple, hey, did you take care of what you had to take care of downstairs? It's working as a team, not making me look like
No, it's
and
not.
maybe this
No.
is how I'm taking it.
I think that's
but
how you're taking it, because it's not. It is a team. I'm backing you up. You told them to do something, and they didn't do it. And if you come back and see that they didn't do it, then you're gonna be upset or not upset, but now it's bugging you because you got to go tell them again. So I'm getting your back. I'm like, hey, your mom told you to go do that. Why am I having to come back and fucking tell you something?
Yeah.
And it's the same goes for me.
I guess it's different in different situations, because there are times where it's like,
I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't know exactly. Yeah, I know there's like instances where if I say something like your mom said,
yes,
then it's kind of like you're only doing it, and I'm only saying something because your mom said, but that's not really what I want.
Right.
Kind of.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's not what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Yes. You know, in those types of situations, you want to come together.
Yeah.
You know, and I always tell the kids, like, we are a team.
Yeah.
Your dad and I you guys see, like, we're working during the day. Sometimes, you know, we're working in the evenings, whatever it is. We cook. Your guys' job is to clean.
Yeah.
This is a team.
Right.
And helping them to understand that they are a part of this team. It's not just us.
Yeah.
You know, there's things that they want to do. There's things that they want, you know, to buy. And it's like those things just don't pop up miraculously.
Yeah.
And it's helping them to feel a part of, you know, the team.
Yeah.
And together we win.
And one thing that really helps a team is recognition. And there was something that happened yesterday.
Men die for it and babies cry for it.
Yep. But not just recognition, but it was just something that, like a little celebration for the kids. I was driving Audrey to school or picking her up from school or something, but we were in the car and she was telling me about like what she's doing in music. I think it was yesterday after I picked her up from school. And she is like so excited. She's singing everywhere she goes. And
we have a little Cinderella in our house.
I love it.
So
I love
cute.
it. You know, there was something that I wanted to bring up, but we were talking at the table when we were having dinner one time. And she was mentioning something about singing. And she's been singing for a little while now, and she can sing. But I was going to mention something that when she first started singing, she didn't sing the way she sings today.
No.
And that is something that is funny, because singing is one of these things that people seem to feel like
you either have it
or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
My brother is an actor. And he's done some things where he's had to sing. And he's not a singer. But he's learned how to sing. So even singing is freaking crazy that it seems like you can get better at it and learn how to do it.
But you can't become Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston.
You may not become Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston, because those are people that were natural singers.
Yes. Gifted.
But I'm sure that there's people out there that have had those types of voices that didn't do shit with them. Right? I mean, that's a different topic. Don't waste that if you have it. But and everybody's got something. But with Audrey, like she was telling me that her music teacher, Mr. Lee, freaking love that dude. He's so awesome. And she was telling me that, you know, because she puts in so much effort. And like she's really passionate about it. And he sees her passion. And he told her that one of the next things, like when you want to start learning more about music, is learning how to play the piano a little bit. So he started showing her the basics of the piano and all that. And she was telling me about this on the way home from school. And I was like, is it just you guys? Like, it's just you and him, and he's showing you all this stuff? He's like, yeah, and he's teaching me this, and he's teaching me this. And I was like, you know, like that's because of like you've shown him that you want this, you know? And when somebody sees that somebody else has passion for something, and especially in the thing that they are passionate about too, they're going to help you out. I was like, and that can make a big difference. And I'm like, I'm super proud of you. I'm super proud of you. And I gave her a high five, you know? Then later on that same day, we were sitting at the table having dinner. And Joey was bringing up how we have a conference coming up. And he was talking about like they have highlights in his agenda for the work that he has to turn in or work that's missing or whatever. And he was telling us that he had so many highlights, which are not good. But then he had so many of them signed off, which was all of them, which means that he's caught up with all his work and he's turned everything in and he's doing good. You know, and it was the same thing. It was like, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm proud of you. And I gave him a high five. But
these are the conversations we're having during dinner.
And I was also kind of thinking about like what I was talking about earlier is like finding, and like you have to capitalize on these moments, especially when the moments are tough like they are right now. You can't miss these opportunities to give him a high five, to give him a kiss. That's how he's going to know that I actually love him. You know?
Yep.
It's fucking hard.
It's action.
It's so hard to be hammering them all the time.
I know.
Ugh.
Yeah. But you just can't be.
Yeah, because like we said, it's a balance. And that is one thing that before we get out of here, because I talked to Joey about it, man, because he has this, just the way he is, his sweetness, his personality. He's so caring. He's so loving. He's so thoughtful. And I love all of it. I don't want to change him. I don't want him to be a different person. I just want him to have a balance, like we've been talking about this entire episode. I want him to have that balance and to be able to take care of himself. He can still be that loving, thoughtful kid and be strong and be tough and be driven. There's no reason why you can't.
That's the balance. That's the perfect balance. That's having the feminine and masculine energy.
It reminds me of that quote by Jordan Peterson, where, and this is something I got to talk to Joey about, but it's something like a good man is not a weak man. A good man is a very dangerous man who keeps it under control. You know, because it's almost like there's a virtue to not being strong, to like being weak. And it's like, that's not a virtue. You were put here for a purpose. Like I said, we got one shot at this thing. What is your potential? Do you want to find out? I do. And life is fulfilling that way.
That's what brings joy.
Right?
It's overcoming the challenges and the obstacles. That's why I feel we have such a solid relationship. Because that's what we've done for 16 years. We started off with challenges. Yeah. We started off with obstacles. We didn't know who we were at the beginning. We helped each other discover who we are because we were mirrors of each other. Like every time I want to go into my feelings, I see you fucking doing 100 pull-ups.
Every day.
I see you and you are that reminder for me.
Yeah. And then when I see you just being with the kids, or like I see you just taking your moments and not losing your shit sometimes when I would lose my shit. And I'm like, oh, all right. I need more of that.
I put it down on you, dude.
You did. We put it down on each other.
Yes.
And hopefully you guys put it down on each other too. And with that, thank you guys for being with us this week. We really had a great time and a great show with you guys.
Yes.
Make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Like we said, the best thing you can do is share with somebody else. Like, subscribe, comment, rate, all that stuff.
All that good stuff. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.